So, welcome to the Thespace.ink.
Thank you.
Pranam. Would you call In Free Fall an autobiography?
Nope.
No.
No. I think, if anything, it's sort of chapters from my life.
Okay. It's a great thing. And I like the tagline.
Experiments with living.
With living. Yeah. Was your parentage ever like a burden to you as the youngest member of the family, or did it come very naturally?
Yeah, Papa and Amma were just Papa and Amma. They were not Dr. Vikram Sarabhai and Bhim Mrinalini Sarabhai. And I think when parents are fulfilled within themselves, they don't put a burden on the children.
Right.
When they are frustrated, when they haven't reached where they want to reach, then they put a burden on their children. I think my parents were so happy with what they were doing that they just wanted us to blossom in whichever way
You wanted to.
we wanted to.
It's a great thing. Or was your treatment in school different because you were Mallika Sarabhai?
No, not at all. I went to one of the earliest Montessori schools. It was run by my aunt. There were 6 kids in each class. Nobody treated us in any different way at all.
It's a great thing. That's an advantage as well.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah. So, in the context of you being teased as a child, that you've mentioned in your book, which supposedly led to your anorexia, what would be your message to the families where these kinds of teasings come as part of family?
I think it's very important to teach young children about health and not about looks, because with social media becoming such a terrorizing presence in our lives, anything you do will be wrong. So if you're confident within yourself that you are healthy and fit and that you are loved, that takes a lot of pressure off the child that can lead to depression and mental illness and all sorts of insecurities.
Right. True that. And looking back, do you still hold it responsible for?
Hold it responsible for?
Hold the teasing responsible for your anorexia?
It's difficult to say because though there was no social media in those days, there was still the magazines that had very beautiful, very sexy women.
Right.
I don't know, maybe, I don't know there must have been social pressures, but certainly nowhere as compared to today.
Right. Right.
And then, of course, the need to be healthy took over. So.
Right. So, in the context of your turning dependent on alcohol, that you've mentioned in one of the chapters, how now do you think you could have dealt with the entire crisis differently without taking to alcohol?
Sleeping pills?
It's not good either.
No. Listen, if I was not doing anything wrong, I would have a halo around my head. And how uncomfortable that would have been for your cameraman, having a backlight all the time, right?
Yeah. And this is why I like speaking to you. How would you comment on the way you organized a folk dance festival? So I'm asking you a question on that context. How would you comment on the way the so-called classical artists otherize the folk culture and neglect the folk culture? So what's your take on this otherization?
I think it's terrible. I think one needs to celebrate all forms of art as diverse as they are.
Right.
And I don't believe in this is high art and this is low art.
Right.
Earlier in a session here on textiles, we were talking about how while we valorize patola sari or a jamdani sari, if a parent were told that their daughter was getting married to a patola weaver, they'd probably have a heart attack. So, because that is not considered, what they create is considered high art, but they are not created worthy of our treating them as equals. And I think that is so wrong.
That is very wrong. Yeah. Answer this question if you only feel like answering this. If you didn't dance, what would be your go-to place for all moods and emotions? Would you like to imagine a situation with you not dancing?
Music, I think.
Music.
I think even today, even when I'm not dancing, like when I have a broken foot, which I've had several times, I think music transports me.
Right.
And so I think it will be music.
So that reminds me, you were very close to Tagore's music too.
I still am.
Right.
I still love Rabindra Sangeet.
Right. And your mother, Mrinalini Sarabhai ji, was also very close to Rabindranath Tagore.
Yes, she considered Gurudev her only real guru.
Right.
Who gave her the possibility of becoming the creator that she was and the writer that she was.
Right. And would you sing a bit of?
No, not today.
I remember you singing Modagande Bharat last time. So, okay. When you acted in films, you didn't like to act. When you needed money for your treatment, did you ever feel answerable to your own art?
I didn't have the arts then. This was before I became a dancer.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Right.
and it was pragmatism.
Right.
I loved performing, but I thought classical dance was far too much hard work.
Right.
Films and theatre came physically easier.
Right.
So I went into that and into puppetry first.
Right.
Before my eureka moment.
It must have taken a lot of courage to comment so assertively and affirmatively on the alternative medical sciences and in this book. So, your father was a reputed scientist, and today in the science world, these alternative ways are not treated with that much respect. So,
but I think that's because of the insecurity of the scientists. My father wasn't an insecure scientist.
So he didn't practice scientism.
You know, my home is called Chidambaram.
Right.
Chidambaram is where the Chit meets Ambar, the soul or the sky.
Right.
Papa was a space scientist, and Chidambaram is where Amma's temple of Bharatanatyam is.
Right. Right.
So that's where the crossover of the science and the arts were.
Right.
And you know, C.P. Snow wrote a book and talked about how these were not two different worlds.
Right.
They really were one world, and people who were insecure and didn't really want to open up closed themselves to it. And I think today a lot of scientists and a lot of medical practitioners are very closed because they don't want to study something that's different, something that might threaten something that they have believed in or might put into question. And I think that's a pity.
And Rabindranath Tagore, in one of his essays, wrote that it's just one thing, and we look at it from a scientist's perspective,
Absolutely.
or a literature person's perspective.
Absolutely,
just one thing.
Yeah.
So, tell us about your experience of working with Peter Brook for the Mahabharata.
I've spoken so much about this, but basically, basically, I think all the work that I have done since 1990 is because of what I learned from Peter.
Right.
It's like his unpeeling an onion to find the shunya within. Mm-hmm. And that's how you go about creating.
And initially you didn't have a very...
Oh, I didn't at all. I used to hate it and I wanted to run away and all of that. But that was part of being completely cut off from my roots, having defended my own truths, finding my own truths. And he did all of that. And I think I changed. That was a major turning point, both in my creative life and also in me as a person. I think had I not had to defend myself so vociferously about my belief in Draupadi, about my belief in in what Shakti meant and so on, I wouldn't be standing here defending my beliefs in India.
Right. Thank God you did. I'm going to refer to that particular clash that you've mentioned that has happened between you and your daughter Anayata. So at that point when your daughter denounced you, or you said what you shaped yourself as a mother or of that sort, did you ever think you failed as a mother when you were denounced by Anayata?
I think all parents fail at some stage.
Right.
I think there's nothing like perfect parenting, and there's nothing like perfect being children. In all relationships, even the most well-intentioned of us make mistakes. And perhaps they're not mistakes. Perhaps they were just the right solution for the wrong problem, or the wrong solution for that particular problem. I think there is deep love between us, and we need to re-find our ways, which we will try. And if the time is right, and if it's supposed to happen, it will happen. Right. For the moment, for me, it's very important that she is well, she's with somebody she loves, she's healthy, and she's enjoying what she does.
Right. I think more people came out like you wouldn't be having problems with their children being found out homosexual. So.
Yes. I also think that all through my breakup with my husband, I was talking about it because there is no need to be bitter about a divorce or a separation.
Right.
And many people try and turn their children into either pro me and anti the other parent and so on. And all of that is unnecessary and puts a burden that is completely unnecessary on children.
Right.
So all the time that I was actually breaking up with my ex-husband, I was telling Revanta was 5.5, Anahita had just been born, that it was nobody's fault. It was just that the process had made us separate and that both of us were as committed to the children as could be, and that Papa loves you as much as I do, and there's no quarrel between Papa and me and you.
Right.
Papa and I have just grown apart. And we remain good friends, we remain co-publishers, and we remain co-parents.
Families come in all shapes and sizes.
Yes, I don't know why one needs to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. True that. Now, how would you put in words dialogues that go on between you and your body? That's my final question.
I get a sort of instinct, like I'm a very energetic person.
Right.
But some days I will just get up saying, you know what I really want to do is just lie in bed. And I used to say, oh, you are a lazy bum and so on and so forth. I don't anymore. I listen to my body and say, okay, perhaps today it just needs repose. Or I'm not somebody who likes sweets.
Mm-hmm.
There are days when I suddenly get a craving. Or there's a week when I suddenly get a craving for a sweet. And I understand that somewhere my body needs sugar.
Yeah.
And I listen to it. But it comes with a lot of experimenting and a lot of trust and a lot of mishaps before you come to that. But it's you need to find the true instinctive voice.
Right.
And I mean, even now I make mistakes. It's not that I don't. Like sometimes I think, no, I'll push this and I get an injury.
Right.
So it's a conversation. It's like relationships. You have to have that conversation every day. It's not enough to say, I told you yesterday I love you. Why should I tell you today?
Right. True that. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Namaskar. For now. Thank you for this.